agin the Mississauga, and least of all agin one like Jasper. I speak the Mingo dialect myself, having learnt it while a prisoner among the reptiles; but who will say I am their friend? Not that I am an enemy, either, according to Indian notions, though I am their enemy, I will admit, agreeable to Christianity." "Ay, Pathfinder; but Jasper did not get his French as a prisoner. He took it in his boyhood, when the mind is easily impressed, and gets its permanent notions, when nature has a presentiment, as it were, which way the character is likely to incline." "A very just remark," added Cap; "for that is the time of life when we all learn the catechism and other moral improvements. The Sergeant's observation shows that he understands human nature, and I agree with him perfectly. It is a damnable thing for a youngster, up here, on this bit of fresh water, to talk French. If it were down on the Atlantic, now, where a seafaring man has occasion sometimes to converse with a pilot or a linguister in that language, I should not think so much of it, though we always look with suspicion even there at a shipmate who knows too much of the tongue. But up here, on Ontario, I hold it to be a most suspicious circumstance." "But Jasper must talk in French to the people on the other shore," said Pathfinder, "or hold his tongue, as there are none but French to speak to." "You don't mean to tell me, Pathfinder, that France lies hereaway, on the opposite coast?" cried Cap, jerking a thumb over his shoulder in the direction of the Canadas; "that one side of this bit of fresh water is York and the other France?" "I mean to tell you this is York, and that is Upper Canada, and that English and Dutch and Indian are spoken in the first, and French and Indian in the last. Even the Mingos have got many of the French words in their dialect, and it is no improvement neither." "Very true. And what sort of people are the Mingos, my friend?" inquired the Sergeant, touching the other on his shoulder, by way of enforcing a remark, the inherent truth of which sensibly increased its value in the eyes of the speaker. "No one knows them better than yourself, and I ask you, what sort of a tribe are they?" "Jasper is no Mingo, Sergeant." "He speaks French, and he might as well be in that particular. Brother Cap, can you recollect no movement of this unfortunate young man, in the way of his calling, that would seem to denote treachery?" "Not distinctly, Sergeant, though he has gone to work wrong end foremost half his time. It's true that one of his hands coiled a rope against the sun, and he called it quirling a rope, too, when I asked him what he was about; but I am not certain that anything was meant by it, though, I dare say, the French coil half their running rigging the wrong way, and may call it quirling it down, too, for that matter. Then Jasper himself belayed the end of the jib halyards to a stretcher in the rigging, instead of bringing it to the mast, where they belong, at least among British sailors." "I dare say Jasper may have got some Canada notions about working his craft, from being so much on the other side," Pathfinder interposed; "but catching an idea, or a word, isn't treachery and bad faith. I sometimes get an idea from the Mingos themselves, but my heart has always been with the Delawares. No, no, Jasper is true, and the king might trust him with his crown, just as he would trust his eldest son, who, as he is to wear it one day, ought to be the last man to wish to steal it." "Fine talking, said Cap. "All fine talking, Master Pathfinder, but damn little logic. In the first place, the king's majesty cannot lend his crown, it being contrary to the laws of the realm, which require him to wear it at all times, in order that his sacred person may be known, just as the silver oar is necessary to a sheriff's officer afloat. In the next place, it's high treason, by law, for the eldest son of his majesty ever to covet the crown, or to have a child, except in lawful wedlock, as either would derange the succession. Thus you see, friend Pathfinder, that in order to reason truly one must get under way, as it might be, on the right tack. Law is reason, and reason is philosophy, and philosophy is a steady drag. Whence it follows that crowns are regulated by law, reason, and philosophy." I know little of all this, Master Cap, but nothing short of seeing and feeling will make me think Jasper Western a traitor." "There you are wrong again, Pathfinder, for there is a way of proving a thing much more conclusively than either seeing or feeling, or by both together, and that is by a circumstance." "It may be so in the settlements, but it is not so here on the lines." "It is so in nature, which is monarch over all. There was a circumstance, just after we came on board this evening, that is extremely suspicious, and which may be set down at once as a makeweight against this lad. Jasper bent on the king's ensign with his own hands, and while he pretended to be looking at Mabel and the soldier's wife, giving directions about showing them below here and that, he got the flag Union down." "That might have been an accident," returned the Sergeant, "for such a thing has happened to myself. Besides, the halyards lead to a pulley, and the flag would have come right, or not, according to the manner in which the lad hoisted it." "A pulley!" exclaimed Cap, with strong disgust. "I wish, Sergeant Dunham, I could prevail on you to use proper terms. An ensign halyard block is no more a pulley than your halberd is a boarding pike. It is true that by hoisting on one part another part would go uppermost, but I look upon that affair of the ensign, now you have mentioned your suspicions, as a circumstance, and shall bear it in mind. I trust supper is not to be overlooked, however, even if we have a hold full of traitors." "It will be duly attended to, brother Cap. But I shall count on you for aid in managing the Scud, should anything occur to induce me to arrest Jasper." "I'll not fail you, Sergeant; and in such an event you'll probably learn what this cutter can really perform, for, as yet, I fancy it's pretty much matter of guesswork." "Well, for my part," said Pathfinder, drawing a heavy sigh, "I shall cling to the hope of Jasper's innocence, and recommend plain dealing, by asking the lad himself, without further delay, whether he is or is not a traitor. I'll put Jasper Western against all presentiments and circumstances in the colony." "That will never do," rejoined the Sergeant. "The responsibility of this affair rests with me, and I request and enjoin that nothing be said to any one without my knowledge. We will all keep watchful eyes about us, and take proper note of circumstances." "Ay, ay, circumstances are the things after all," returned Cap. "One circumstance is worth 50 facts. That I know to be the law of the realm. Many a man has been hanged on circumstances." The conversation now ceased, and after a short delay, the whole party returned to the deck, each individual disposed to view the conduct of the suspected Jasper in the manner most suited to his own habits and character. Chapter